Hi folks, in this video I'm going to test Calico and Selleys Aquadhere Exterior glue as a possible coating for a teardrop camper. On newest videos I've seen this referred to as Ghetto Fiberglass or poor man's fiberglass. Selleys Aquadhere is a polyaliphatic PVA. It's an exterior product and waterproof once hardened. The bottle says it can be sanded, chiselled and is useful for a range of construction tasks. It's also a sort of yellow in colour. So what I'm going to do now is give a bit of a voiceover of what I'm doing. This is a layup that I built, and it's got a number of different sort of timber types and joints. So the first bit here is some softwood pine. Then we've got some form ply with the gloss taken off. Then we go round the corner, which is quite sharp, to some unsealed form ply. Now this is the back of the form ply, so this is the gloss part. Then we've got the side of the form ply with its standard coating, and then we've got some unsealed plywood. Now that joint on that plywood has been done badly, so we'll see how that works. So then in here we're going to do some inner corners, and we're going to cover that whole area with Calico and Aquadhere. So this is some of the tools I use. These are some plastic scrapers that I picked up at the local hardware store. What's next? So this is just a cheap paintbrush. It's sort of, you can just throw it away afterwards, and you probably should anyway. Plastic mixing container. It's just your standard sort of takeaway food container. Then this is the Aquadhere by Selleys, so that's what it looks like. So this is the Calico, so this is the material we'll be sticking to the layup. It's quite strong. So what I'm going to do here is cut the Calico into strips, and I actually take pieces of these strips and use those to joint the inner corners. I also cut off some other pieces as well to cover the other sections, but I didn't include that in the video. So now we're just going to mix up the adhesive. It's about 50-50 with water. So that was the adhesive, nothing much there. Just whip off and get some warm water. I actually overdid the water here and I had to add some more adhesive, which is actually a good thing because I used nearly all of it in the end. So I've just done some mixing here. I added another piece of newspaper because it was spilt the stuff everywhere. So I'll take that away. So now we'll get to work on the layout. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off some pieces to fill one of those inner corners. So just get an idea of what the size is and just chop it off. I wasn't trying to be too accurate here. I really don't think this is something for accuracy. You probably want to go a bit more than what you would think. It's not precision fiberglassing. So you get the gist of what's happening there. I also found that it pays to put a distinct fold in the actual Calico, which I worked out. So we fold that there, and then we'll get some adhesive and start sort of splashing it around. The stuff went everywhere actually. It was quite surprising. I discovered after I did this, and I don't have that on video, that you can actually just use this adhesive straight up without any dilution whatsoever. And that was incredibly strong. There's a destruction section at the end of this where we smash this to pieces. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it was surprisingly strong. You couldn't even dig it off with a screwdriver. So I don't know why I was coating that, but I was just doing it anyway. You know, you give someone a paintbrush. So here we go with the first inner corner. Stuff sticks. The Calico absorbs this stuff readily. That Calico is already damp at this point. So I've done a few more of the inner corners there, and you can see I've been splashing the glue around. So what I'm going to do is lay up the softwood pine piece there. So you spread the stuff around quite liberally, and this is sort of pre-cut to length. I actually cut all the right pieces, and then I forgot which piece was what, so I've probably grabbed the wrong piece for this. But you can see that it goes on, and you can also see that it's easy to adjust as well. So I had to be careful of that inner piece there. As you can see how I use the yellow scrapers to make sure those corners were sharp. So we just add some more adhesive here. There's no point in being sparing with it. Something I realised with this is you have to watch the softer plywoods, as they will absorb this material and they take it away from the joint that you're trying to make. So I don't think it becomes as strong. So now we just get the air bubbles out of it, and it's particularly easy to work with. I tried going up. It's actually easier to go down, and you can see you get a nice action there, and it didn't seem to snag the Calico either. I think if you're doing this, you'd use a pin roller or something like that. So go to your local fiberglassing shop and get the tools to sort of spread this stuff around. So yeah, so this is I basically rinsed and repeat this for the other parts of the layout, and trimmed a few things up. So this is what the layout looked after it was coated and left to stand for 24 hours. There's a few tear strips and stuff on there because I wanted to test how hard it was to pull the stuff off. So now we're going to pull that one off. It's taking a considerable amount of effort. You see I had to change my grip there. Now that was 50-50 with the glue. This little bit here was done with 100% glue, and I can't get that off for crackers. So I get the screwdriver under it and try and destroy it. So I'm actually digging into the plywood and getting under it and then lifting it off. It's quite strong, and it just tore then. Just tears off. Which is what you want, I mean really. I mean if you're going to use it as a surface coating, you need it to be fairly strong. So now I'm going to try and pull this apart. It's a bit of the old palm heel. That didn't work. Now remember that there's no mechanical fasteners on any of this. I used a little bit of that thermal glue that you get out of those glue guns to just keep them upright so they didn't fall over while I was laying it up. So what's interesting here is that the points of failure are always the joints. So that joint there towards the form ply, or towards where my left hand was, that was deliberately bad. So it didn't actually meet the plywood behind it because I wanted to see how well it'd go. Well, that's my excuse anyway. But it's still taking a fair amount of effort to get it off, and you end up destroying the material rather than pulling it off the wood. So I ended up getting the screwdriver under this in the end. I couldn't tear it off. I could rock it backwards and forwards, but couldn't tear it off. So I got the screwdriver under it. And yeah. And the actual plywood itself's bending in the process of doing that. So that all tore off. That was surprisingly satisfying. Quite enjoyed doing this. A bit hard on the hands though. So I got that off. Now remember that the surface of this plywood wasn't really prepared in any significant way. So now we'll try and get that double layer in the middle off, and that's going nowhere. That's not coming off. Well, not easily anyway. So get the screwdriver under that. Try not to stab myself. I can't get that to go. I don't have the grip strength. So now we'll set 2 on the form ply. So I'm getting stuck into that. It's using a fair amount of force. Still not really coming off. I'm basically using it as a lever and folding it over. So I hurt my hand again. Fantastic. So I gave up in the end and got a hammer. And there's a hammer. I'm doing all of this on the kitchen table as well, just for the record, in case you're wondering. You can do anything on the kitchen table. So we got that torn off. That was good. So it comes off the form ply side quite well, so I wouldn't dilute the adhesive too much with that. But the side where I took all the coating off altogether, it's quite strong. So now we've just got this pine, so I just keep smacking into it until it fails. And then finally I have to go back the other way. So that took a fair amount of force to get off. So yeah, this is all pretty good, and video's about to wind up. So we'll just try and sort of pull the rest of it off. So that piece there in the middle, there was quite a bit of excess glue on that, and I think really what was happening was just that soft plywood was drawing the adhesive away from the actual calico. So that's just something to be mindful of. Do something about perhaps sealing it, maybe put a coat on before, let it dry, and then add the rest on. So anyway, thanks for watching that. I hope it gives some people an advice, and yeah, have fun. Cheers.